arrival was almost unspeakable.
We are all evil in some form or another. I'm not guilty.
The dead won't bother you. It's the living you gotta worry about.
If I couldn't keep them there with me whole, at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
Hello and welcome to the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. I'm Rachel.
I'm Vicky.
How are you guys doing?
Hello.
You all look great. You all look very sexy.
Yes.
Very slay.
Out being a bad bitch today.
Oh, every day. Every day. Is it a day that ends in Y? We're
Yes.
being bad bitches.
If this is your first time listening, a special hello to you.
Welcome.
Very excited about today's show, actually.
Hi, me too.
I was not. I'll be honest. I was not for a minute. And then I was like, all right.
You didn't like my topic?
No, it's not that. It's just, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Oh my God.
It's not that controversial. Don't worry.
I'm controversed. Consider my verses contra.
Oh my God. Well, we have a great show for you today.
So great.
But first, let's head over to the newsroom.
Fit to breathe, our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad.
So our news this week comes from the Irish Times.
Oh. Top of the morning to you.
Where they wrote an article talking about they're basically talking about Garda's, which is their police force, their intelligence system where they keep like records of arrests and crimes and reports and whatever else. So they have found 3 instances of babies being caught speeding in recent years.
What?
3 babies. 3 babies. Yeah.
This baby's as fast as fuck.
Yeah. So this is actually an issue with poor data entry practices.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like widespread incorrect information, which resulted, again, this is according to the Irish Times, it resulted in multiple files showing what appeared to be child criminals committing crimes before they were even born.
Oh my God.
In some cases. Yeah.
Those crazy fetuses be up to some crazy business.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently there was this report by the inspectorate that was done. I guess this has been like an ongoing issue for the last 10 years where people have been really concerned about like the large number of records being created for children under 12.
Well, yeah.
Which in Ireland, 12 is the age of criminal responsibility there.
Okay.
So like, they're like, why? What is up with this?
That's nuts. For it to be such a huge problem. Ireland isn't even that big.
Yeah.
You guys get it together.
Yeah. So it says the latest reports reveal new information on the problem, including that before 2014, intelligence records were being created for babies, including a 10-month-old who was recorded as being involved in crime and another child who was 42 days old.
Honestly, fair enough.
There were, I guess, new rules introduced in 2014. I'm not honestly sure what those are.
Weird.
But then
probably no drinking at your desk.
Yeah. So the new rules that happened in 2014, I'm sure it has to do with these child records.
Yeah.
Says almost 3,668 child intelligence records were deleted. And then they introduced stricter criteria for creating files.
Wow.
But all of a sudden, the numbers are starting to creep back up. By 2020, there were some 400 files created a year for children.
Oh my God.
So they added more controls to see if they could, and like additional training to see if they could get these entries down, because clearly they are incorrect. It says overall, 2,204 records have been created for children below the age of criminal responsibility in the last decade, including 587 for children under 3. Yeah.
They do call it the terrible twos for a reason.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of the records on like the child intelligence files that are related to that are related to child protection concerns.
Okay.
So there is that. But there's still these instances of like intelligence files being created for like inappropriate things.
That's interesting.
They included an example, these included a mother and a 1-year-old child sitting in a car waiting for their laundry, and a mother, father, and 2-year-old child who were seen walking.
Those, they just let them get away with it?
They're just like, they have a child crime. Instant criminals. So it seems like this is just like it's crazy to me that this is a problem.
Like such a large problem.
Yeah. And I will say like Europe definitely more heavily uses surveillance systems, and like
that's true.
The UK, you have a lot of like CCTV type stuff going on, and in Ireland a lot of CCTV. So that's why they're talking about like creating these intelligence files. It's like cameras recording and seeing something and flagging it. But like
there shouldn't be that much error though. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Ireland, you need to get your
and these
together.
are systems they've had in place pre-2014. So like
that's not good.
Yeah. So it sounds like I didn't know that this is a problem, but
neither.
apparently too much baby crime is like a problem in Ireland.
Baby crime. Yeah. That's my new podcast. It comes out right after this one. Baby crime.
Baby crimes. Yeah. So anyway, just really interesting that's the problem.
That it's good to know that in this era where babies can be bosses, babies can be criminals too.
Yes.
I love it.
I mean,
Equality.
Listen, equality. Yeah, for real. All right, we're going to head over to Netflix and Kill, which this week we are talking about Cold Case, Who Killed JonBenet Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to start out by saying...
I'm glad we're talking about this.
I will always admit when I'm wrong. I will always admit when I am wrong. Okay? I feel like I was wrong in my previous...
you
declarations on what
changed your mind?
What theory I support. Yes, it definitely did.
I'm surprised.
It definitely did. I will admit it. I owe an apology to the Ramsey family. I definitely landed in the camp of someone in the family did it. I was always sort of in the Burke did it camp, truthfully. But after watching this, I feel like that's incorrect.
I feel the opposite way.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. After watching this,
I thought it was a terrible documentary.
I
thought it was so biased and ridiculous.
Yeah, but all the other ones have been biased the other way.
Yeah.
Right.
No, completely.
I'm not saying that it's impossible that is, but I do not lean as heavily that way anymore.
I get you. No, I get, and that's good. It's good to change your opinions.
So this, obviously, it looks at the JonBenet Ramsey case. Her dad is interviewed heavily in it. I just find it really interesting that Burke never does any interviews, but of course, their explanation is he was a child when all of this happened. He has really wanted to like distance himself and kind of move on with his life. I get that. Yeah, I do not blame him for that.
No, but it is interesting because it's such a high profile case. And of course, the father and the mother, when she was alive, did so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, of course, Patsy has now passed from cancer,
guilt cancer.
My gosh, there was a lot weird about this case, and I guess didn't realize how badly police had bungled.
Oh, it's a bungler.
So many things. Yeah. I knew they had there were definite things that were incorrect.
Oh yeah.
And not handled well.
It's so bad.
Like the people that they had put in place to run investigations and the way they handled it when they first got to the house and but I don't know. There's just a lot weird about this case. I think I'm more towards somebody on the outside breaking in. That's where I'm at. But, it's like the only reason I wanted to talk about this is because for me, it sort of changed some things.
Yeah, for sure. And that's good.
Yeah. Why do you not like it? You were not a fan.
I thought it was I thought the documentary was really bad.
Yeah.
I think that there was, although they did introduce a lot of evidence that I think people don't commonly talk about.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases for me where I've looked at everything. Like, I also think that they didn't talk about a lot of the big thing where I'm like, well, but if you think about that,
there were definitely some
wrong.
things that other documentaries they talk about the CBS documentary.
Yes.
And that is one that I watched.
Yeah.
And that was very convincing for me.
Yeah.
And that was also one that Burke had sued them and they settled out of court.
Yeah.
that one was very convincing for me. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, was that even like, I don't know.
Right. I don't know.
Because there were things they talked about in that were not mentioned at all.
Correct.
You know, they talk about the dust on the window and they talk about the food in her stomach.
The pineapple
and like,
in her stomach.
Yes.
And
like,
that was never brought up. Right.
Yeah.
Completely. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's, and you know, I didn't like the documentary, and there's some documentaries about the case that I do like and don't like, you know, there's different. I think the case will never be solved because it was so badly bungled by the police.
For sure.
I think that I never thought the little brother did it, but I thought I
was in that camp for a long time.
And I think it's very understandable. I just think that he's too young to have known how to use a garrote.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have known how to do that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they never found whatever she was hit with in the head, like they think it's a flashlight, but they're not 100% sure.
Yeah.
And then the crime scene was so messed up. I think that my opinion is that the parents were involved, and I think that it was like a planned. I think they were involved in some fuck shit. This is not a conspiracy theory because you can look it up online, but there's photos of the father with Jeffrey Epstein. They knew each other. Yeah. And that's really all I'm going to say about it.
Oh, God.
I think that it was one of those cases where it's people were up to some fuck shit. Yeah. And then it was one of those things where like they were planning for something different to happen, and then they got caught in this big case, and we're like, oh yeah, oh no, our daughter. It's just really spooky. It's a spooky case to me.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean,
there's so much bungling, it almost seems intentional.
Yeah, it happened so long ago, and we're clearly still talking about it, right?
Yeah.
I always get a little leery with stuff like this.
Completely.
Because, like, this is obviously a very major case.
Yeah.
How many documentaries can you release about it?
Right.
You know, I hit a point where I'm like, I don't really want to watch it if there isn't any new information or like a new piece or a new something.
Because at that point, it's just an opinion piece.
Well, and you're just rehashing. And I'm like, okay, this is all stuff I've already heard.
Yeah, completely.
So anytime something like this comes out, even with like the Menendez brother thing, like that, I was like, okay, are they just rehashing the same stuff that's been out? But they had like the new interviews and stuff.
They had a ton of new stuff.
I will say this is the first interview I think that the dad has done in a while.
Yeah.
So there's that. You know, it's kind
worth
of
watching for sure. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah. I agree.
I would say.
I agree. Because I think a few years ago was when they really started going hard for like the Ramsey family had something to do with it, documentaries.
Yes.
And
now it's like they get to say.
Right. So I do think it is worth watching.
Oh, definitely.
It's just interesting. It's just one of these, I don't know. It's just one of these cases. We're always going to be talking about it. We'll probably never know what happened.
I don't think we'll ever know.
I think that DNA is at a point where if they wanted to do something with what they have, they probably could.
Right. But I don't how contaminated is what they have.
And I don't know how degraded it is.
Completely.
And like, I don't know where that, I'm sure they've tried, right?
Neighbors walk around the crime scene. Whatever.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
That case pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
That case makes me mad. I'm mad now. Have you seen the stupid thing online where people thought that JonBenet Ramsey grew up to be Katy Perry?
Yes.
That's like so stupid. If you believe that, you're stupid. Sorry.
No, she's fully dead.
Yeah.
It's not great, but
she did not grow up to be a mediocre pop star.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dude,
that's stupid.
Also, before we move on from this segment, I just want to point out that they started releasing the trailers for part 3 of the Natalia Grace story saga.
I saw that.
And I am very excited.
Now, so I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
So look forward to that. But like, very excited about that.
We'll be covering it here on the Bad Taste Crime Podcast.
We've talked about the first 2 parts, I think.
Right. So we have to do the third one.
Anyway. This is that part of the show where we say content may not be appropriate for all listeners. We're going to be talking about some Wet and Wild.
Ooh. We're doing water sports here on the... No, we're not.
Golden shower. No,
Ew.
wait. Oh, not that kind of water sport. Okay, my bad. No, we'll definitely be talking about murder.
Yeah.
I think I have a small mention of child sexual abuse. Very small. Very small.
I think mine's
But-
mostly just murder.
What are we talking about today, Rachel?
Moist murders. So yeah, I know. Ew, disgusting. I'm actually sorry for doing that. No, I'm not.
I imagine you picked this like dreaming of warmer days.
For real. I was like,
Not in the middle of winter.
You know what? I'm trying to think what I was watching. I might have been watching Below Deck, to be honest with you.
God.
It might have been. It was
Yes.
just like, on TikTok, they post like reunions from shows I've never seen, and I'm immediately
I
invested.
know you send me like housewife clips all the time, and I'm like, I know you don't watch this.
But I'm like, oh my God, this one's funny. I'm just verifying.
I know you
We're
do not
holding
watch
space.
this. But then I'm fine sending you 90 Day Fiancé
Yes,
clips
please
because
do.
That's
Because
just
I don't have
wild.
the attention span for the whole
It's
thing.
fine.
I
I'll
can't
just give
watch
you
it
the
with my
highlights.
kids.
I'll
because
give you
my
the
kids will be
weird
screaming about
highlights.
prostitution whores, and I can't have that at preschool again.
I'll just send you the highlights of the guy
That's what I
Lauren,
want.
in the Philippines dating
I
the
hate that guy.
trans woman.
That guy is a predator. I hate him. And the woman is so cute.
He was
I'm
married
like,
to a woman and
save
his two
her.
kids.
Oh my God. Oh
They don't
my
talk about it
God.
on the show, I don't
Oh
think.
my
But
God.
yep.
Save her.
Anyway. Sorry, total
from the
aside.
Philippines- Okay, total aside.
Total
Girl from the
aside.
Philippines, you are too hot for him, and
Literally,
he's gross,
she's
and he's
beautiful.
gonna kill you and cut your head off. You
Yeah.
need to leave him immediately.
Anyway.
the show is not worth it, babe.
What are we talking about
So
today,
we're
Rachel?
talking about. Welcome back to the 90 Day Fiancé.
I can't wait to go home and watch more Bravo. Just crochet my little heart out to
Oh my
women
God.
yelling at themselves.
Yes, that's the American dream. We're living
Yelling
it.
at each other,
We're living
yeah.
it. Oh my God! Now there's a ladybug in here. Hi.
I hate this.
What's going on?
Our studio, our studio is being overrun by bugs.
Live on the scene. Cut to a helicopter feed. It's not being overrun. There's just a ladybug. It's
All right.
the time of year in the Midwest where we have lots of little flying things around. Very annoying.
inside.
Inside.
Anywel, so where were we, Rachel?
So we were-
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about I don't know, I was having fun talking about the bugs, but I guess we can go to my topic, which is crimes upon the high seas.
Ooh.
Of course I texted you nautical nonsense.
Yes. Yes.
Sticking to my fondness for interesting and weird topics. Yeah, I just feel like since it's so cold, I just want to go to the ocean, put my feet in the ocean, pick up a shell perhaps, not scrape ice off my car.
Yeah.
Ew, hate it here. Hate it here.
I mean, I just,
Hate it here.
yeah, if you know me, anybody who knows me
do.
well knows that I am not a winter person.
Me
in the
neither.
Slightest. I'm a June baby. Like,
Yes.
I would much prefer, I mean, I'm an in-betweener. I like the spring and fall, but I would much prefer summer than winter.
Me too.
Because at least you're not, I mean, you might get heat stroke outside, but like,
Yeah.
drink enough water, you're fine.
See, I had an acting job at a theme park where I worked summers and like had to be in like full like very heavy costumes, like running around. So I'm like, too much of summer is like, ugh.
Yeah.
But also too much of winter is disgusting and horrible. Listeners, if you live somewhere that's like temperate and beautiful, call in and I'm going to move in with you.
Tropical.
Open your home to me.
Open your home. Let me come stay with you.
I don't know.
not weird.
It's not weird. I feel like we're already friends. You're listening to me talk. I'll listen to you talk.
Yep.
Can you cook? I can. Allegedly. I made a tuna salad the other week that was questionable. I don't know. I'm still eating it though. Not the other week. That makes it sound like it's been in there for weeks. It was the other day.
Yeah,
It's okay.
fine. It's fine.
So anyway, yeah, nautical nonsense. Crimes committed upon the high seas. How do you feel about the ocean? Are you like an ocean goyle?
How do you feel about the ocean?
'Cause
in
I'm
general?
scared of it.
No, I actually don't mind. I'm not like one of those people who won't go into like open water.
Yeah.
As long as it's safe. Like,
Right.
if
Within
it's like
reason.
deep, I have a life jacket or whatever. I can swim. I know how to
Yeah.
swim.
Oh, good.
I truthfully haven't really been in like open ocean. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Open ocean.
we were on a cruise ship, but
right,
like
but you weren't like bobbing along.
no, I wasn't
right.
like jumping off the back of a yacht to like go swimming.
Good
You know
plan.
what I mean?
I wouldn't do that either.
I have been on like a beach
yeah.
on the coast with the
Same.
oceans and stuff.
And I've done the same.
You know, for me, it's not really a big deal. You know, I think recently there's been the talk of like aliens in the ocean versus
God.
aliens in the sky. And there's
it's
part of me
Bologna.
that's like, I mean,
it would make sense.
maybe, but you know, the ocean, is not really a bothersome thing. But I don't feel like I've had a lot of opportunities to like.
That's true. We are Midwestern girls.
Yeah,
So we
a
have to
lake
drive
is about as
quite
close as I
far.
get.
Right. Yeah.
Like Lake Michigan is probably
delicious.
You know what I mean? Like the deepest body of water I've been in a boat on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is totally reasonable. That's the thing. Like I love, like, I'll go to the beach today. Let's go. I love the beach. I love swimming. But
Yes.
like I don't like not being able to see like when there's stuff around me in the water. I don't like that. Like once you get deep.
So you want to be the
gets
person with
dark.
like your own digital Doppler scanner of.
No, I don't want to look at that. It
Oh, you
scares
don't want to
me.
know?
You know that game? I don't know if you've seen that video game Subnautica.
Yes.
Where it's like that. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
Even watching those, I was holding my phone so far away from my face, like that would save me. So scared.
There is a movie coming out. We saw in the previews yesterday. There is a movie coming out that's based on a true story about this diver doing something for like, I don't know if it's like an oil rig or something in the ocean. That's like full underwater diving suit, and he gets cut. The line gets cut, and he has to just like hang out and wait down there for them to come back and get him.
no.
And I'm like, that stresses me out too much.
I would unplug my oxygen and die immediately.
Yeah, that some of those
That's a
underwater scenes, and like
I can't do that.
Even in the new season of Silo, we were talking about this earlier.
yeah.
There's a scene where she's like underwater and her
No.
air supply gets cut off, and I'm just like, this stresses me out too much. That kind of stuff really like.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's so what it was you know that movie The Meg with like Jason Statham. There's,
Jason
like,
Statham.
Yeah, our little like 5'9"
No,
king.
I haven't. I don't know that movie.
Well, it's really stupid, but
Okay.
it's stupid in a great way. They're hunting the megalodon. But
cool.
there's a lot of like underwater like sharks getting you footage, and I watched both of those when I was really stoned, and
Yeah.
now I'm afraid of the ocean. So that's really what it is.
Oh my god.
Like, so this topic that I'm going with, this guy was a cruise ship captain.
Okay.
And my husband's always asking like what topic I'm doing, and it got us on the like, oh, maybe because we've never been on a cruise, neither of us. So he's like, maybe one day we'll
was
go on a
fun.
cruise. Like
It
that
was
sounds
fun.
good. And I was like, okay, I'm a bumpkin, so I don't know about anything. I was like, so are there any cruises where when you're on the boat you can see the shoreline the whole time? And he
No.
looked it up, and that's a no. So
Not
that's a no
really.
from me. I
Yeah.
can't do that. If I can't see the shore,
oh my god, girl,
not
it's
doing
so fun.
No.
It's like being in a giant building. You don't even know that you're on the water.
I hate being in buildings.
That's a lie. You like being inside.
That sounds
You
like
sure as shit
panic
like being
attack.
inside.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm a Taurus. I don't know why I'm lying to any of you. Just the idea of that is scary.
Yeah,
Like not
yeah.
like in my brain, even if like the land is like super far away, my brain is like, I could swim potentially then.
Yeah.
If it sinks, I can swim.
What
But
if-
if there's no land, I can't, where am I gonna go?
What if when you left, you could see the shoreline and you went to bed and then you woke up and you were already at port?
Fine.
Okay.
I
so you
have
just
to
don't want
not
to see it happen.
Yes. Because then it's le panique
I'll know
attack.
I'll know this when we plan a group vacation
Okay,
on a cruise.
There's one. I'll literally link it in the show notes because there's a metal cruise.
Yeah.
They
I keep
have
seeing
like
the rave cruise.
Oh my god, so fun!
Looks so good.
Let's all go on a
but
cruise.
I'm like, I'm broke.
yeah, that's the problem.
not rich.
They're so expensive.
I can't take the time off.
Me too. Well, I can. 'cause,
You have kids.
I have kids.
Yeah.
I can't take the parenting time off.
You just can't go rave for a week and then
That's the worst part about having kids is not being able to rave in the open ocean for a week. You heard it here, folks. Oh my god, what the hell am I talking about? Back to my pecking topic. Sticking to my apparent fondness for criminals with famous nicknames.
Okay.
I've noticed. I don't do that on purpose, but it just seems to happen. I decided to go with the case of Francesco Schettino, or as he's more commonly known, Captain Coward.
okay.
Have you heard of this one before?
Damn, no.
It's really
No.
dumb. This guy's an
With a name
asshole.
like Captain Coward, I'm
Right.
like, Oh, no.
So I don't think this was Italian audiences who called him this, because I don't know if it would be like a mistranslation thing. But he also was known as Chicken of the Sea.
I love that
so much.
Is it chicken or is it tuna?
What is it? You know what? Everyone made fun of her for that. That's valid, because they make
canned chicken.
I don't think she's stupid. I'm sorry.
No.
I was offended when I was a kid and that came out. I was like, that's not that bad. Leave Jessica Simpson alone. Yeah, this was a big, big deal in like Italian media. This was a big ass deal.
Okay.
Dubbed Captain Coward and Captain Calamity, he was also given the unofficial title of Italy's most hated man. Yeah, fuck this guy.
What do you have to do to become Italy's most
That's what I was saying, because Italy has produced
do?
some unsavory characters, such as fascist dictator Benito Mussolini and some of the cast of the Jersey Shore.
Yes, I'm like, Mussolini, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, geez. But like, this guy does also
funny.
suck. Maybe not as bad as Mussolini, but he kind of sucks. Francesco Schettino was born November 14th, 1960 in Campania, Italy.
Okay.
His family, like many others in the area, were seafarers, and he grew up with similar goals. This is a quote. He attended... Oh, I put attended twice. He attended the Nautical Institute. Nino Bixio in Pino di Sorrento. Then worked for the ferry company Tirrenia. So you would think he's a seafaring guy. He's grown up knowing how to do this. He's like, hey, no problem. No problem, because this guy sucked at his job.
Oh, damn. Doesn't it suck to be born into a family where you're like, everyone's like a seafarer. I'm going to like follow in the family footsteps, and you're just terrible.
Oh my God, he's a nautical Nepo baby.
Oh, no.
That's amazing. What
Poor
a
guy.
loser. Not poor guy.
Okay. Okay.
So
I retract.
You're gonna love this dude. In a hating him way. In November 2008, he was captain of the Costa Concordia. So he pretty much chose to pilot like cruise ships.
Okay.
That was what he wanted to do. And there's a lot of money in that, but I think he really took the like showmanship.
Yeah.
thing.
He wanted the
glitz.
how
and the
very L. Ron Hubbard of him.
I know.
Wow.
He's like, ew, you guys want me to touch fish like with my hands?
No, this is
No,
the whole
that's
reason
okay.
he like created the Sea Org in Scientology
Right.
is because he just wanted to be a captain of a ship,
L. Ron
literally,
Hubbard.
and like wear the commander's uniforms and shit.
He's just cosplaying.
Yeah.
That's like when Marie Antoinette made her servants build her like a little farm.
Yeah.
And she would go there and this is true. She would dress up in a little milkmaid outfit and pick eggs. Not pick eggs.
Yeah.
Pick
like
them from the egg tree. And everyone had to like be like, hello, Marie, not the fucking Queen of France.
Oh, Marie.
Yep.
Hello, Marie the milkmaid.
She had a whole
Do
fake
you have milk
village.
for us today?
Isn't that?
Oh my God.
They're German in her little.
Yeah,
well, you
sorry.
know what? They probably would have been Austrian because she was Austrian. So she would be like, talk Austrian.
Yeah.
To me. I hate these French hoes. They're trying to kill me. And then they did. None of that stuff was her fault. I'm a Marie Antoinette apologist. But also, like, cosplaying is poor. Shut up, Marie. Shut up, Marie. So when Schettino was captaining this cruise ship, which was the Costa Concordia,
Okay.
he was around the Sicilian city of Palermo, and the ship went into like some high winds and got pushed against a dock. That was like the official report was like, we ran into some high winds, we pushed into the dock, and now we have to have repairs to our bow. Sounds like kind of a normal thing that happened, but
Yes.
what really happened was that he was like drunk and not paying attention and was like coming in too hot and like slammed into
Probably
the-
like put the thrusters on at the wrong time and just went,
went,
whoa.
yeah. He was like, wait, does this have brakes? And then by the time he was like, it doesn't. It was
Water
too late.
breaks.
An
You know.
anchor.
You know how that works.
I do. I do. And then, so, you'd think he would be like, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
But he didn't. In 2010, he was on another cruise ship, the Costa Atlantica. He was the master of this one, but he was driving another ship, which
Okay.
was the part of like the Carnival. He was working for like Carnival.
Okay.
The Ada Blue, while entering the port in Germany.
Now, is this like Carnival? Like Carnival Cruise Lines?
Yeah.
Like, so he's like driving like cruise ships.
Yeah, he was very successful.
Okay.
'Cause he
Like
was
the
from
massive, huge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's kind of the thing is apparently for like boating, that's kind of seen as like you're like fancy.
Okay.
You know, it's like a big like
I mean,
you're
it's a
like
big
a
ship.
character. Right. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of like meh.
Oh,
You know.
is it like the showmanship?
Yes.
Like the showy people?
Yes.
Okay,
I keep thinking
see.
of like Ringmaster,
Yeah.
but that's not a good
Yeah.
comparison.
No, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, he did that shit again in Germany. And slammed the fucking
got
boat
drunk
into
and-
the port. The drunk is alleged, but also no, it's not.
Well,
So,
it sounds like
yeah.
it's known that did he have like a drinking problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that might be kind of known.
Yeah, it might be
To
kind of
his
related.
fellow like
Yeah.
crew members, like,
Yeah,
oh, he's
they were
drunk
like,
again.
oh, you smell like the vino a little bit. He's like,
Yeah.
what?
It's
Shut
cultural.
up.
It's a cultural thing.
He's like, this bar is drive through. And he
Yeah.
just slams
oh
into
my
the port.
God.
The cruise ship company like denied. They were like, no, it didn't cause damage. They like kind of like covered it up. Like I'm sure it would be embarrassing for them.
Yeah.
Especially because they're such a big company. I'm sure they were just kind of like, la la la, pay for it, shut up. So by this time, there were other like little incidents like this too, where he's just doing shit that's stupid.
Yeah.
And he's not being trustworthy. So he kind of had that reputation at this point. But for some reason, 2 years after that, there was this university in Rome, which was like, what would be the best seminar for you to lead? Oh, probably panic management. He's like, when something totally out of your control, like being
What?
drunk happens and you slam your boat into the pier, don't panic.
Don't panic. The key is to not panic. And if you're drunk, you're just lucid all the
Right,
time.
I was gonna say it helps to be sloshed.
So
Because you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
man. Oh, dang.
Wow. Who's making these decisions?
Not I.
So stupid.
Not
Okay.
I. Also, if you're a listener and you hold panic management seminars, I probably need to go. Please invite me.
I mean, it sounds great as long as you're not gonna come in drunk and teach it.
I was gonna. Now I won't.
Now I'm not.
Now I won't.
Oh my God.
So it was like a huge controversy that like he's up there hosting the seminar and like all of these like captains and stuff who know him are like, that guy for real? That's the guy that you chose, are you sure? And then a year after that, he published a book called Les Vérités Submerses, or The Submerged Truths. Where he wrote himself as like this big, sexy seafaring hero.
Oh God.
Glistening chest hair.
That's so
and-
cringy.
and then, well, that's actually a spoiler. Anyway, he did that after what I'm going to talk about. Just kidding, everybody. It's fine. So then, just kidding. So this is the incident in question. So he's doing all of this stupid stuff. He's slamming the ships into the ports, being a dick. Not doing valet ship parking because he's stupid.
yeah.
And then he's on the Costa Concordia. This is in 2012. And he's sailing by this coastline. Again, big cruise ship, not supposed to go too far, too close to the shore.
Right.
So he was close to the shore. And there's this like rock formation there that's like really beautiful. And a lot of people will come to watch the smaller ships go by. And he's like, I can literally fit. It's fine. Please don't even worry about it. So he was going too close. He had done it before and it had been fine, but you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So he was like, let me do this cute little, like, I'm going to show off my like glistening chest hair and my little ship boy hat that I feel like he was probably wearing. And he was like, I'm going to be so focused and I'm just going to lock eyes on the steering wheel. 10 and 2, literally no problem. Actually, just kidding. He had on board. So he was married with children.
Okay.
He had like a wife and kids, but they were like at home. Not a big part of his story, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's a shitty guy. He's just like, I have wife and kids. Bye. I'm leaving you on land. I'm going to go be like a sexy cruise ship
The
director.
sea is my wife.
The sea.
I'm married to
My
the sea.
one true love is the sea.
Yeah.
Right. But he had somehow snuck on board a woman who he was having an affair with.
Of course.
Who was this dancer, a Moldovan dancer, Dominca Semortan.
Okay.
And she was on the bridge and she was a dancer, and I don't know if she was like throwing ass, but he was distracted by her.
Oh my God.
And he
blowjob.
Well, that's kind of what I thought, but apparently, like, she was on the bridge, like, she wasn't in. Although,
right.
So he was like looking at.
I see,
her.
looking out the window.
Yeah, I know. I kind of wondered if there was some, you know, over the gear shift action. But obviously, I don't know anything about boats, guys. I don't think boats have gear shifts. But he went too far and smashed on the rocks, and the ship was holding like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Sure. It's a cruise ship.
Yeah. Many of whom were just like regular passengers. And he not only left the boat.
He just got off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know how they say a captain should go down with the ship? He was like,
So he hit the rocks, parked it, and was like...
Yeah, he was like, oh, see you later.
Out the back.
So what happened was there was a guy who was involved with like the Coast Guard. I think that he was on the cruise ship as well and was like, all right, shit, let me get the rest of the Coast Guard. So he was on one of the boats, and he got on a boat with the captain and was literally telling him, like, direct quote, get the fuck back on the boat. Get back on the boat. Like, you're the captain.
Yeah.
It is sinking right now.
Yeah.
You go back on there and help. And he was like, no, I'm trying to help, but I fell off the boat into this lifeboat.
Into this lifeboat,
just
conveniently
into this
floating.
Lifeboat. Right.
Oh my God.
Where I feel like he probably had like champagne chilling.
Yeah.
This whole time I'm kind of picturing him as Zap Brannigan from Futurama.
I could see that. I could see that.
I blew up the planet. I'm leaving.
Yes. Yes.
Very much so. That's
how very William
vibes.
Shatner of.
Very much so.
Yes.
Gregorio Di Falco was the on-duty Italian Coast Guard commander. And you can hear him. They played the tapes in court because he had like all the radios and stuff of him screaming at Chatino to leave the lifeboat and return. And in court, he later testified, like, he didn't fall off the boat.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was bone dry.
Yeah.
So he hasn't even been in the water. So he's just been, like, chilling on this boat.
Well, he didn't fall in the water. He fell in the lifeboat.
Well, but later he would say, like, I was swimming and saving passengers. And he's like, nope, because by the end of the day, he was bone dry. And he would tell the Coast Guard, like, it's too dark. This lifeboat's broken. It stopped moving.
So
and it's like,
weird.
Didn't you go to boat college? Didn't I say that earlier? I'm sure you can make a boat move.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he told him, vada a borde caso, which means get on the boat for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But he did not and was one of the first to reach land.
Oh my God.
Chatino also claimed he would have returned to the ship by helicopter. Why don't you just take a boat? What are you talking about?
You're right there.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to leave the ship. You didn't even have to leave.
Like, how far is it? Just swim.
Yeah.
Also, when he was like on land, like, oh no, boy, isn't that a catastrophe? And people were like, aren't you the fucking captain? This was the beach. So someone was like, oh my God, take my dinghy so you can go back, because they were like, you're here by accident.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
I love the idea of like, what a catastrophe. Here, take my boat. Such a tragedy.
Oh man, nothing could be done.
No, who's going to help these people? You, take my boat. Oh no.
Oh, me.
I mean, maybe someone more qualified.
My hair just got dry. I literally just gelled it. I mean, he is Italian.
Wow.
Take their hair very seriously.
Wow.
So 32 people died.
Oh my God.
This was a huge, you are not supposed to sail that fucking close to the rocks.
Yeah.
So 32 people, including like someone as young as a 5-year-old girl, drowned.
What?
It was a
That's
massive
crazy.
rescue operation.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Chatino also did not contact his employers for the first 15 minutes after the collision. Which, like, you're dry in the boat. He's probably texting.
He's trying to figure out how to get the fuck off the boat. Oh, my God.
He's like Instagram selfie. Like, the Coast Guard guy's like, did you call your boss? Hello?
Oh, my God.
So he did not send a mayday or order an evacuation. He just got himself off the boat, and that's it.
Wow.
And he lied to the Coast Guard. So like the one guy from the Coast Guard was there. I think he was already there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was on the boat. I think they have to have someone from the Coast Guard on like on the premises at all times.
Yeah.
But he should have called for further backup and he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't call anybody. This was interesting. he was initially believed because, as we've been joking about, he's like drinking and like being like a big lush.
Yeah.
They tested him that night. So like stuff could have worn off a little bit. But like, he was stone cold sober, tested negative for all substances.
What?
Yes. So he was sober.
Wow.
So I feel like he really was just like, oh, look at my girl's boobies. And then he smashed
wow.
his boat.
Okay.
Like, what an idiot.
It's the only smashing he did that night.
For real, and probably forever again.
Oh, God. Okay.
So obviously he got sentenced to house arrest like immediately.
Okay.
Because they were like, let's just
make sure he doesn't get on a boat
sail
and sail
away.
away. Yeah.
Well, he'd probably crash it, so they wouldn't
Yeah,
have to
true.
worry
He
too
would
much,
not get.
but,
He'd like leave the dock, immediately crash into another boat, get off again.
It's like I was trying to do a cool trick.
Yeah.
And then he got fired.
Okay.
So he was employed. He was implied to have been employed by a company called Costa, and they were like, no, just kidding. And we're also not paying for your legal defense.
I mean, also fair.
Initially they did, but they were
that.
like, well, actually, just kidding. Fuck
Well,
you.
they found out how fucking liable he was going to be.
Yeah. And then they were like, actually, we're going to be the co-plaintiffs in the trial against you.
Yeah.
Not only are you fired, not only are we not paying for you,
Yeah.
but we're going after you, which was probably really, really smart.
Yeah.
So it started as like a bigger trial against 5 other Costa employees. There's a lot of R's in there. Robert Ferrarini, who was the company's crisis director.
Mm-hmm.
His charges came after because he was kind of like the down player.
Okay.
Like, okay, people died, but like, didn't he look cool?
Yeah.
You know? He's in trouble. Manrico Giampedroni, who is the cabin service director. Ciro Ambrosio, who was the first officer.
Okay.
Sylvia Coronica, who was the third officer. And then the only non-Italian indicted was Jacob Rusli Bin, who was the helmsman. He wasn't like the normal helmsman, and he was Indonesian.
Okay.
Part of Chatino's defense, his really stupid defense, was like, well, the helmsman, who's like the steerer, drove it into the rocks himself, and I was having trouble communicating with him because he didn't speak Italian or English. He only spoke Indonesian.
That doesn't sound true.
It doesn't, and because it's not.
Okay.
And also because
Good, clocked that one.
it's a huge seafaring thing that like most of the time you're not going to speak the same language as these people. As far back as like the 1800s or even older than that, way older, they would use hand signals, they would use written signals, they would use flags. There's lots and lots of ways to communicate without speech at sea.
Right.
Because, waves are loud and shit.
Yeah.
And people are from all kinds of places. So he's full of beans and Bologna. That's what I say. So all of them pleaded guilty, but they took like plea bargains, and their jail sentences were not super long. I think it says the shortest was 18 months and the longest was like 2 years and 10 months. Yeah. So not so bad.
Yeah. It's not nothing.
Yeah, it's not nothing, but
it's not long. It's not long.
Something.
Yeah.
So Chatino was accused of causing a maritime accident, which sounds cute but isn't. Multiple counts of manslaughter, and abandoning ship with passengers still on board.
Okay.
Which,
sorry, I didn't know that was
deal.
a thing that you could get charged for, but I guess as a captain, yeah.
And then he also got in trouble for not like calling the Coast Guard, not like cooperating.
Yeah.
There was like later there was like data that wasn't true, like, oh, we did that. They were trying to make him look, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were trying to make him look
better. Sure.
He tried to strike a plea bargain, and they were like, no, thank you. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. And his lawyers were like, he's a scapegoat.
Yeah,
and
right.
Like, no, he's not.
He was literally driving the ship.
Yes. They were saying that like the lifeboats didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid. So everyone, nobody was on his side. Everybody testified against him, including the dancer.
Yeah.
Who he was having an affair with, who luckily survived and was like, sorry for being hot, everybody. I'm sorry. I feel bad because she probably felt guilty, but she really didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
On the 11th of February, 2015, after a 19-month trial, Judge Giovanni Pulati sentenced Chatino to 16 years in prison, which is 10 for manslaughter, 5 for causing the wreck, and 1 for abandoning his passengers, and they're to be served consecutively.
Okay. Wow.
So upon hearing the verdict, so they did do legal language. They tried to appeal. Yeah. They weren't able to appeal, and he used them all up super quickly. So on the 31st of May, 2016, it was upheld. Okay. So they were like, yeah, you actually do have to go to jail. Yeah. And he was trying to appeal to the Italy's Supreme Court. And then finally on 2017, they were like, stop calling us. Yeah. Just be in jail. Yeah. So when he heard that, he turned himself in and went to Rome's Rebibbia prison to begin his sentence, where he remains to this day.
Damn.
Apparently, I wonder if he like makes like little paper boats and like floats them around the sink, like
like ships in a bottle.
I used to be a captain. And everyone's like, shut up. Yeah, shut up.
No,
idiot.
you didn't.
What a dick, huh?
Wow.
So that is the story of the infamous Captain Coward.
I get it. He's earned that nickname
for real,
sure.
Right? It's a good one.
All right, well, we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
Switch boat gears?
Switch boat gears. Smaller boats, for sure. Because I want to talk about the hijacking of the Joe Cool.
Ooh.
Yes, which I just think is a great name for a boat.
It is cool.
It's a great name for a boat.
Very good.
So our story begins in September 2007.
Okay.
At the sunny Miami Beach Marina.
That sounds nice.
It does. 2 men, 36-year-old Kirby Archer and 18-year-old Guillermo Zarabozo, decide to charter a fishing boat to take them out to Bimini, which is like an island off of the Bahamas, like part of the Bahamas. It's about 50 miles away from the Miami Beach Marina where they were at. So not far.
So it's like a little island.
Yeah, it's like on one of the coasts of the Bahamas.
Uh-huh.
The 47-foot vessel named Joe Cool. Just love.
I just feel like I'm only picturing a dinghy with sunglasses.
I am literally imagining a picture of the Snoopy Joe Cool on the side of the boat is what I'm thinking about.
Okay, good. Now that's what I'm picturing.
That's all I can think of. So the Joe Cool was owned by Jeff Branham, and it was run by Captain Jake Branham, who was Jeff's nephew.
Okay.
His wife, Kelly Branham, Jake's half-brother, Scott Gamble, and first mate Samuel Carey. The trip to Bimini, it seemed kind of unusual because so the crew had actually suggested to Archer and Zarabozo that it would have been cheaper to fly to the islands than to charter this boat to get there.
Never listen to people whose jobs it is to do this.
Well, it kind of depends on what your end game is here, I guess.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So they were like, you guys can just like buy your cheaper ticket. But according to Oxygen, quote, the men claimed their girlfriends accidentally stowed their passports in inaccessible luggage and therefore they wanted to book the Joe Cool, end quote. So they were like, we just don't want to have to like pull us out of our luggage. We'll just charter a boat to get there instead of having to like go through airport security. So the 2 men paid their $4,000 to charter the boat.
Wow.
Which, again, flying would have been much cheaper.
Way cheaper.
And off they went to the Bahamas. But after the boat didn't return by the following day, owner Jeff Branham reported the boat overdue.
He was like, that is not Joe Cool. That's not very Joe Cool.
No, it was only, and 50 miles by boat, it was like 2 hours. Yeah. Is what they were looking at. Yeah. Somewhere in there.
Okay. That's not so bad.
We've already talked about this. You and I separately. I'm pretty sure we talked about this on air. Obviously, you know I am quite the Bravo fan.
Yes.
Okay. And so Below Deck is part of this series. And my all-time favorite captain from Below Deck is Captain Lee.
Okay.
Who is like this grizzled old man, but he's a real sweetheart.
Is he like the really old sea captain looking one?
I love Captain Lee.
Yes.
He is a real sweetheart, but like takes his job very seriously.
I love
He's
that.
really good at it. So following his time on the show, Captain Lee starred in a series on Oxygen called Deadly Waters with Captain Lee, where they talk about crimes on the high seas.
No shit.
Yeah.
I used to watch that.
Yeah, that's Captain Lee.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's relatively new. It just started like this year or last year, I think.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So the season premiere actually talks about this case.
No way.
And a lot of the information that I'm using is from that. So
oh my God, shout out to Captain Lee.
love Captain Lee. So Captain Lee in this series comments on the lateness of the boat, saying, quote, when a vessel is reported as overdue, that means the boat did not meet its scheduled return. But overdues happen all the time. The fish are biting and passengers want to stay out longer, or people can drink too much in Bimini and need to sleep it off, which causes a delay. So like
that makes sense.
It just being overdue by a day is not necessarily super worrying.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
But the fact that it was supposed to be a quick trip there and back. They might have stopped for some fishing on the way back, but that was
by the
only
next
plan.
day, I mean, a 2-hour trip there and back. They should have been back already.
Yeah. And the Joe Cool also had a charter planned on the following day. So this sort of like raised some red flags because they needed to get back for this other charter so they could make more money. Right. So after when you report overdue, you report to the Coast Guard. So Jeff contacts the Coast Guard, the United States Coast Guard, which then puts out a pan, which is the sea version of a bolo, a be on the lookout.
Oh, okay,
So it's
cool.
sort of just like be on the lookout for this
I love all this terminology.
boat. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know a ton of boat terms.
I
This
love
was a
it.
new one for me. So it's called a pan.
Pan.
But they still were not able to contact the Joe Cool or get information on where they might be. So an official search and rescue operation was sent out, including air and sea searches. There were, at the time, a couple of reasons to be concerned. First, the channel between Miami and Bimini were pretty common areas for like piracy, drug smuggling. Not saying that it was like an all the time thing, but
Right, but
they
it's
were
something
not
to look out for.
Yeah, they were not a stranger to that sort of thing either. So it was a little concerning. Not to mention that it had been 36 hours without contact from the vessel at all. But then the Coast Guard finally received word of an unusual boat about 30 miles north of Cuba. But again...
Did it have a big Snoopy on the side of it?
Yeah, right. This is again from Oxygen, quote, another disturbing observation was that the 45-foot anchor lines had been let out despite the boat being in well over 200 feet of water. The stern door of the Joe Cool was open and swinging about.
Not good.
Yeah. This, paired with the location of the boat, led authorities to believe that it was left there intentionally.
Right. Because what's a
Very
40-foot
weird.
anchor doing? Not shit. Dangling.
Yeah. And it was like it looked abandoned.
Yeah.
Looked abandoned. So
Ghost ship.
the Coast Guard goes out to this location of this boat. They very cautiously board the boat because they're being mindful of like possible hijackers still on board. Like they don't know what's going on. But when they got inside, they did not find a single person on the boat.
Wow.
What they did find was car keys, wallets, fishing poles, all of these things indicating that the passengers were not planning on being off of the boat.
Right.
They
Not
also
like they just went for a swim or whatever.
Right. Yeah, or like it got loose from an island
Right.
or I don't even know.
Yeah.
They also discovered blood, which instantly turned the boat into a crime scene. The Coast Guard contacts the FBI because now it's like, it's not just like water
on.
stuff. It's like, and also because it was American citizens, So further, the FBI goes out to where the boat is at because you don't necessarily want to move the crime scene. Further investigation found that there was a lifeboat missing. Meaning that people could still be out in the water.
Right.
Something that became even more of an emergency thanks to a monsoon that was on the horizon.
Jinx monsoon.
So the weather forced authorities to tow the boat back to shore to continue investigation while the search efforts for this potential life raft amped up.
That is kind of cool. It's so silly, but it's like you could just kind of like transport the crime scene.
Yeah. You don't necessarily want to do that.
Well, completely.
Because if like something got thrown off the boat or something, like you kind of want to be there. But with the monsoon, they were like, we want to, if there's stuff on the deck, they want to preserve that.
Yeah. That makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah. But they did do like an initial sort of thing.
Sweet.
And a more thorough investigation. Actually. Yeah. So the next day, an air search team spotted a life raft floating south of Anguilla Key with the name Joe Cool stenciled on the side.
No.
It was a covered life raft.
Okay.
A helicopter is sent in to rescue potential passengers, of which there were 2. They didn't know this at the time because it's covered.
Right.
And when the helicopter dropped down to where the life raft was at, the wind from the helicopter blades blew the top off of it. And so they could see there were 2 people inside.
Oh!
Due to the noise of the helicopter, a regular conversation was not immediately possible.
That's what I mean. In the sea, you need nonverbal communications.
So one of the people who had just been rescued wrote on a piece of paper, quote, West Bimini, we were abandoned in the boat, hijacking, 4 killed. And like handed it to one of the rescuers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they, it was at this point, they pretty much like abandon the search for the other 4 crew members because these guys are like, no, they're dead. But when they got back to land, these 2 people were identified as Kirby Archer and Guillermo Zarabozo.
Not you, Guillermo.
Not you, Guillermo. Yeah. So in the meantime,
oh my gosh,
this is all happening. They're picking these guys up off the boat. Back on land, authorities were starting a more thorough search of the Joe Cool. This time, they managed to find 4 9mm spent shell casings, a blowgun, darts, throwing stars, and a handcuff key.
Oh.
Which is just, what a mix.
This is
what
getting very like Knives Out.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, when I heard that list, I'm wondering if like some of those things they just like someone in the crew just like kept on the boat. Yeah. And what of those things were brought on by Archer and Zarabozo.
Ooh.
I don't know though.
I don't know either.
But it's all unusual.
Very unusual.
It's very weird. The shell casings were lining up with what Archer and Zarabozo had said to authorities, but everything else was kind of strange, like the rest of that stuff. It appeared there were signs of a struggle, like the place had been sort of ransacked, but they didn't think that anything had actually been stolen, leading investigators to think that pirates were not to blame. Because why would they just walk on to mess up a boat, kill some people, and then leave?
Yeah, they didn't take anything.
Very weird.
And why would they clean up the boat? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So they start, once Archer and Zarabozo got back to land, it's not like a full interrogation, but they start asking them some questions.
Well, yeah.
And then Zarabozo makes this strange statement to authorities saying, they're talking about him walking from the pier to land and like seeing the Joe Cool as he's walking past and is like, I've never been on that boat.
What?
Yeah. He's like, I don't even recognize that boat. They're just walking along. I don't know that boat.
What? Dude.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So they were like, that's weird.
That is weird.
And immediately take him into custody. They're like, he's lying about something.
He has ocean madness.
Ocean madness. So they take them into custody. They're like, this is weird.
Good idea.
In initial interviews with the FBI, the men claimed that 3 Cuban pirates had boarded the boat and killed Captain Jeff, his wife Kelly, Scott, and the first mate Sammy. Then they forced the 2 men to drive the boat towards Cuba. Around 8 hours later, the boat ran out of gas, and it sounds like after that, a second boat arrived to like pick up the pirates and then take them off. And Archer and Zarabozo, fearing they were stranded with no gas, hopped in a lifeboat and hoped to get rescued.
Sure.
This is the initial story.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I think if you're not listening too closely, it seems legit.
I'm listening close as fuck.
Yeah, but obviously there's some very immediate red flags, right? Why would you get into a lifeboat from a vessel that has only run out of gas? Like, it's not sinking, it's not compromised.
Yeah.
Like, that boat is much safer than a life raft.
And you probably have food and water on there. And TV, perhaps.
And also, might I point out, plenty of communication stuff.
I was going to say, you would
radios. Yeah, stuff they could use to SOS.
Yeah,
like,
you're lying.
That was all on board.
You're a lying liar.
And it did not sound like they made any attempt
this
to
is some nautical nonsense indeed.
to like SOS or anything. Yeah.
Yes.
Very weird. They were also questioned about like why would pirates simply abandon the boat without stealing anything, leaving 2 passengers alive and killing 4 of them.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of weird. This, along with the inconsistencies in Archer and Zarabozo's statements about what the pirates were wearing when they left the boat and in which order Jeff, Kelly, Scott, and Sammy were killed.
Should have gotten your story straight, boys.
Yeah, those
Gotta
2
rehearse.
things, they even made investigators even more suspicious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Stupid.
the FBI starts looking into the background of these guys. Who are these guys? Where did they come from? What have they been up to? Turned up some interesting things.
Uh-oh.
Garbozo was like, he was an average guy. He was 18 when this happened.
Oh my God.
He didn't have a criminal history. He was working as an armed security guard. And he sort of had these aspirations to like go into the military or go into like law enforcement, like that kind of thing. So Archer, on the other hand, had some pretty heavy allegations back in Arkansas.
Oh, dear.
While he was living there, he had been working as a customer service manager at Walmart, where he was accused of stealing over $90,000.
Oh, my God.
Before heading towards Florida. Oh, and by the way, he was also being accused of child sexual abuse with more than one young boy, including his own children.
Ew. What a bitch.
So it sounds like to me, their theory is that he had these child abuse allegations, stole a bunch of money from Walmart, and fled to Florida.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, too.
Yeah. So following all of that,
With an 18-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Got it.
He goes to Florida. Like, all of that definitely gave him motive about these murders happening on the Joe Cool. So this gives the FBI enough probable cause to arrest Archer so he could remain in custody because they have a custody limit.
Right.
Meanwhile, police executed a search warrant at Zarabozo's home where they found a receipt for a purchase of 9mm ammunition that connected to the shell casings.
Right.
They took all of this back to Archer, threatening the death penalty.
He was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was enough to like make him crack. He's like, death penalty?
What?
So he spills the beans about
like, this wasn't in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he spills the beans about what happens on the Joe Cool. Now, according to Archer, after he fled Arkansas, he went to Florida, where he met Zarabozo working as a security guard at an auto shop.
Okay.
The 2 began chatting, and eventually Archer told Zarabozo that actually he was a CIA agent, and he needed his help with a job to Cuba.
Ew.
If he helped, Archer said he would be able to get Zarabozo a job with the CIA, something that sounded really appealing to this 18-year-old who had like law enforcement aspirations.
Oh my God.
Right? So he was like, CIA? Yes, please.
Ew.
Archer said that he shot Captain Jake and his wife Kelly, but Zarabozo shot Scott and first mate Sammy, and then they threw all 4 bodies overboard.
Right.
Their bodies have never been recovered.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Which in channels like that, I think is pretty common.
Yes. Yeah.
Sharks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad.
Both Archer and Zarabozo were charged with the murders of Jeff and Kelly Branham, Scott Gamble, and Sammy Carey on October 10th, 2007. Archer decided to plead guilty to first-degree murder, robbery, kidnapping, and hijacking, doing so in order to avoid the death penalty.
Yeah.
Because he was like, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
A year later, Archer would receive 4 consecutive life terms in prison.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Zarabozo was tried on all the same charges along with some like weapon-related charges.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's because of the receipt and like his role in purchasing.
Probably.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
He was initially found guilty on the weapons charges, but the jury was deadlocked on the murder and piracy charges because
Really?
a lot of juries thought that Archer
Did all of it.
initiated the entire thing.
Okay.
Sort of was like, hey, just like got this stuff and was like, hey, I'm going to charter this boat. Why don't you come with me? And that Zarbozo had no prior knowledge of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The jury was kind of like,
And that makes sense. I
not
understand.
convinced he was fully involved.
I'm not convinced either.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little manipulation.
His age is kind of freaking me out.
Right. So a retrial was ordered because they couldn't agree on the charges. And at this retrial, Zarbozo was found guilty of 4 counts of murder in February 2009 and sentenced to 5 life sentences plus 85 years.
Oh my God.
Neither has a possibility of parole.
Good.
Both are still in prison.
Good. I hope they have to eat like only fish forever.
Yeah, it's just sad because, well, for obviously murder.
Yeah.
But I think especially sad because like the families can't bury their dead.
Closure.
Yeah, they're just like, they never found the bodies. They don't have a place to go visit.
Right.
Like, yeah, which is kind of
really,
sad,
really
but-
sad. And they literally did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
So
fuck that guy.
That's the story of the Joe Cool.
Oh, that is not Joe Cool at all.
No, definitely not. Well, before you decide to go travel into the ocean, I guess, maybe check out this podcast.
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm scared we exist in the Matrix.
I'm Jaslyn, and I'm bad at ad-libbing.
And you're listening to
High Expectations,
the promo. For our international listeners, you can appreciate our cute New Zealand accents. For our local listeners, you might bump into us in the street 3 times in the same hour. Our podcast is about pop culture,
Sexuality,
relationships,
interesting hobbies.
banter, and ragging on each other.
You can find us on
Apple Podcasts,
SoundCloud,
Pocket Casts,
Podcast Addict.
or anywhere you might like to find podcasts.
Yay, please subscribe.
Goodbye!
All right, Rachel, that has been our show.
It sure has.
We're done.
Yes. I want to watch Below Deck.
It's
I
so
wanna watch
good.
it.
It's so good. I've watched Below Deck and Below Deck Mediterranean.
Ooh.
I still need to watch Sailing Yacht, but I haven't gotten there yet because I'm trying to get through Housewives, which is going to take a while.
Yeah, for sure. Quite the backlog.
And there's another one, Down Under, that I haven't watched yet. That's like the
yeah.
Australian one.
Oh, I
That's supposed
love
to be
that.
pretty good.
I love listening to Australian people talk.
But yeah, so while you'll love all of the Below Deck franchises because people come from all
Did you
over.
almost say blowjob?
Blowjob. The Blowjob franchises.
You'll love all the blowjob franchises.
Also those dudes, people are having sex with everybody on those boats. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they are certainly places for that.
Yes. Do you have any closing thoughts before we finish?
It definitely makes me way less likely than I was before
To go on a cruise.
To go on a cruise.
Sure.
I just don't think I'm doing it.
Cruising was
I'll
fun.
take my thousands of dollars elsewhere.
Fair. Okay. Just fly there and go where you want to go. Stay on land.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more like this at thebadtastepodcast.com.
Yeah.
Our sound and editing is by Tiff Fullman. Our music is by Jason Zakshevsky, the Enigma.
Woo! Yay.
This has been the Bad Taste Crime Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure a Happy New Year's is in order because
Happy New
these will come out in
Year.
2025, I think.
At all the
Yeah.
way
So I hope you guys have a happy
we
2025 from us here at the BTC.
Yes. We love
That's
you.
it. Okay, bye.
Women had left their bodies on the hillsides along the highway.
It was as if a wave of evil washed over this town.
We are all evil in some form or another.